Good morning. Today is day 5 of our trip, and it is actually supposed to be snowing/raining all day long in the Colorado Springs area, so we're actually going to travel to Denver and see what we can find to do there. Our first stop was the Denver Zoo, which is about an hour-and-a-half drive from Colorado Springs, and once we arrived, it was easy to see why the Denver Zoo consistently makes the list for the top zoos in the United States. And yes, one of the African wild dogs on the screen right now only has 3 legs, but he's getting around okay. Many of the exhibits are very large, but are built in a way that makes it easy for guests to see the animals from nearly anywhere in the exhibit, which included these mountain goats that apparently needed a good stretch. Honestly, I'm really not sure what this guy is doing, but he did this for a very long time and seemed to be perfectly content doing it. During our visit, the apes weren't viewable due to construction, but we were able to see Monkey Island, which first opened in 1936 and is where many of the monkeys chose to be during the day, but they could also go inside through an underground tunnel. There were also several other smaller primates that were in the indoor enclosures that were able to be seen. They were super active the entire time we were there, and we really enjoyed watching them, and they were, again, very easy to see even though they were smaller enclosures. Now, there were several animals that were just out there chilling, relaxing, and I will say it is a rather warm day, so I feel like a lot of the animals were just, enjoying their day, relaxing on that warm day, which I have to say is to be expected in a zoo that is as large as this. The Denver Zoo actually houses over 3,000 different animals, so plenty to see here, even if some of the exhibits aren't open like they were when we were there. Now, I have to say that the large animals were pretty lazy during the day, except for the elephants. So this exhibit opened in 2012 and gives guests the opportunity to get close-up views of these magnificent creatures. These two right here at the end were my favorites. They were so fun to watch interacting with each other, especially right here at the end where they're giving each other these little head pats. It was cracking me up. They definitely were interacting with each other a lot. This area is also home to this beautiful clouded leopard. So overall, the zoo has over 84 acres filled with exhibits, including a working veterinary hospital. So if you are there and they are doing a surgery, you can actually view them if they happen to be scheduled while you're there. Of course, if you have young children, be aware that this is a fully functional surgery area and veterinary clinic. So there will be blood, and it will be rather graphic, but if you are interested in seeing that or have someone in your group that's interested in maybe being a vet in the future, there's definitely something to learn. By the way, I really don't know what this guy is trying to accomplish by moving his tongue this way, but this went on for quite a while and was cracking me up, and his counterpart, he was just hungry, he was just chewing, I don't know. Anyway, it was awesome to see all the different animals out enjoying their exhibits, and it still blows my mind that the zoo has been open for over 125 years. So while we were there, most of the birds were off exhibit due to concerns of the avian bird flu, and I'm not sure how long that is going to last. We did see several geese, including this little family that was wandering around, and we also saw one of the best bat exhibits I have ever seen. There were several bats hanging up close to the glass, and even more flying around. This was in the Tropical Discovery Building, which included some of the best reptile exhibits I have ever seen, and I will say me and my husband really like to go to visit zoos, so we have seen a lot. There were tons of snakes and a massive snapping turtle that you could get up close to, and we could have easily had our arm taken off if you stuck it in there. This guy was absolutely massive, but he didn't seem to be concerned about anybody else that was in the exhibit. There were also a lot of lizards and iguanas that were just trying to catch some heat and sun in their exhibit, and there was also a really cool saltwater aquarium section as well that we weren't expecting. And it wasn't huge, but there were several different tanks of different types of tropical fish that we were able to see while we were there. We also then went to Harmony Hill and watched a couple of very rambunctious raccoons. I could hardly get these guys on video because they were just running around like crazy playing with each other, and they were hilarious. If you guys get a chance to go check them out, they are so much fun. We also got to see the exhibit that started the zoo in 1918, which was the bears. So the mayor was actually given a black bear and the rest was history. And this guy, while we were there, was eating a very large piece of meat, so he couldn't care less that we were there. So after the zoo, we then journeyed next door to the Denver Museum of Nature and Science. And I have to say, it is a must if you are in the Denver area and you have the time to check it out. There is likely going to be something there for everyone in your party. We spent several hours there and weren't able to see everything, but there were some space exhibits, some dioramas, Native American artifacts, and fossils. Lots and lots of fossils. And the fossils weren't just of dinosaurs, but also of prehistoric fish and mammals of all sizes. This area was actually 2 stories, so you were able to see an awesome aerial view of some of the larger animals and exhibits, as well as up-close views down on the bottom floor. It was just spectacular to see it from that many angles. You also could get a peek inside of a working lab to see what they were currently working on. Right now there are volunteers in there, and the museum also has a couple of Egyptian mummies on display. But our favorite area, hands down, was the Gems and Minerals Hall. Not only were there hundreds of specimens on display from all over the world, including a massive collection of gold nuggets, these specimens were also displayed with their chemical structures, which, if you are a chemistry nerd like me, you're definitely going to enjoy that. But from the largest pocket of aquamarine that was ever found to hundreds of other gems and crystals, you will be blown away by this collection, and we really enjoyed it. If you have a chance to go through it, I wish we had more time to go a little bit slower because we were a little bit crunched for time because we were nearing the end of the close of the museum whenever we were there. It's definitely worth a look. There are so many different gems and crystals from all over the world, and they are absolutely gorgeous. It was really awesome to check them out. Our next stop then was the downtown aquarium. So this aquarium was redesigned back in 2005 and now includes a restaurant, there's a ballroom hall, and many other things, as well as over 500 species of animals. The aquarium has both fresh and saltwater species from around the world, and it takes you on a journey from the desert to the rainforest to under the sea to coral reefs and everything in between. Now, my husband loves aquariums, so he's a bit biased, but after finishing the aquarium, he said he was ready to go back through it again and see it all again because he had such a great time. You really don't know what's going to be around the next corner in the next tank because they just have so many different tanks. There was massive tanks with large fish, sharks, stingrays, and then you have some smaller tanks with things like seahorses and starfish and just everything in between. One thing I didn't expect was the large amount of eels that we saw, since these are oftentimes hiding and we have difficulty seeing them in other places, so maybe we just got lucky. We saw several of them, some of them out swimming, and I don't know if that's normal or not, but it was really neat to see. Another thing that was unexpected find was the number of animals aside from fish that we saw. So this included some very playful sea otters and a sleeping tiger. Yes, I said a tiger. I know, we were surprised to see one too, but it was still really cool to see. Also, if you want to save some money and go to these exhibits and you are doing multiple different attractions in Denver, I highly recommend the Denver CityPASS. So we were able to book 3 attractions for less than the price of just the Nature and Science Museum and the aquarium tickets alone. So it was totally worth it. I will let you know that the zoo is not included since it is not part of the CityPASS program, but you can do other things, including both of these last 2 attractions and the attraction we're going to next, which is the art museum. So if you are looking for a way to save some cash and also still get to see a ton of really cool things at the aquarium and the zoo and the Nature and Science Museum, you can just add the CityPASS as an option. So if you're looking for a way to enjoy some jellyfish and even pet a stingray at the touch tank at the end of your aquarium tour, Highly, highly recommend the downtown aquarium. We then went further into downtown, past the capital of Colorado, to visit the Denver Art Museum. As you can imagine, we were running out of time because we had done so much in one single day, so we couldn't explore the entire art museum, but we got to see an amazing exhibit that showcased armor from many different time periods that were used for everything from jousting to decoration to even protecting everyone's favorite Star Wars character, Grogu. We also saw some beautiful pieces from artists such as Monet and Van Gogh, which was well worth the trip in and of itself. And there was also plenty of contemporary pieces on display as well, so if that is more your thing, then there is something for you too. Thank you all for watching, and make sure you hit that subscribe button for the rest of our Colorado adventure.